Hi, this is Teresa Momber, and here's a look at the cards I'll show you how to create in today's video. I had a lot of fun making these, and I'm doing a technique that's really similar to spotlighting. So I guess I'll call it layered spotlighting since I'm using the front and inside of the card base all in one to create this spotlighting effect. First, I prepared a simple white card base, and I'll be working on the inside of my card base. And I also created a frame mask, and I did this by cutting a rectangle from some cardstock using a die template. And then I'm adhering that to the inside of my card base. And I'm just using some of Thermo-web's purple tape, and I just love that for holding things down. It's easy to pull off. And now I'm beginning to sponge in my background, and I'm using Gina K Sweet Corn ink and sponging that in using my jumbo sponge daubers. And I'll add that color in mostly on the top half of the cardstock. Now I'm switching to Gina K Peach Bellini ink and continuing to sponge. And I'll go over the yellow parts somewhat, but not working all the way to the top. I want to the very top of my cardstock to just be yellow. For the next color, I'm using Gina K Sweet Mango ink, and I'll use this just below this Peach Bellini and work this in very gradually and tapping off excess ink onto scratch paper. Next, I'm using Gina K Pink Passion ink, and I'll use this to create a little bit of a transition below the Sweet Mango ink. Here I'm switching to Gina K Wild Lilac ink, and this color I'll use to fill in the entire bottom area of the cardstock, working into the pink passion. And for the final color, I'm using Gina K Black Onyx ink, and I'm just using this at the very bottom of the cardstock, and I'm making sure to tap off the excess ink onto scratch paper so that I don't make it too dark. Now I'm adding in a small circle to mask off for the sun, and then I'm going to reposition my purple tape for a horizon line. Then I'm going to sponge along that tape and around the circle using Gina K Sweet Mango ink. This will create a horizon line and also make that sun pop out a bit. And here, as I pull the tape away, you can see the effect from the masking that I did. Now I've created this scene on the inside of my card base. So I'm going to place the card base in my Misti stamping tool, and then I'm going to stamp the tree image from the Wetlands 2 stamp set from Gina K Designs, and I'm going to stamp that using Versafine Black Onyx ink. And now the inside of my card base is done. I'm just going to flip over the card base and now stamp the same image without repositioning it all onto the front of my card base, once again using Versafine Onyx black ink. Next, I'm going to use my oval die template to cut out an opening in the front of my card base, and I'll just hold that oval in place using a few pieces of that purple tape. Now, to get this technique to work, you want to choose a die template that's at least a little smaller than the stamped image you've chosen. So here, after cutting away that oval, then folding and creasing your card base, you can see the effect of this layered spotlighting technique. To complete the card, I'll stamp the sentiment, also from the Wetlands 2 stamp set, using Versafine Black Onyx ink onto the front of the card base. And then I'm going to just add some ripples to the water, and I'm starting with Copic Marker V12, then adding a few more little horizontal lines using Copic Marker C1. Then I'm going to add some highlights using an opaque white gel pen. Once again, just adding some little horizontal lines here and there. And that completes this card. It's really just a one-layer card, super easy and quick to do, and a lot of fun. Now, I really liked this technique, so I decided to do a second card. This time I used my same frame mask, and I'm using that on another white card base, but I've turned this one around so that the orientation is vertical, and I'm using all the same inks to create that same look on my background. Once again, working on the inside of my card base. After getting all my colors sponged in, I'm once again going to mask for that sun, but this time using a larger circle because I want a larger sun this time. And then sponging along that horizon line and around the outside of the sun using Sweet Mango ink. So then I just need to remove my tape and my masks once again, and then I'm going to stamp another image from the Wetlands 2 stamp set, once again using my Misti, and then I'll stamp that using Versafine Onyx black ink onto the inside of my card base. And once that's stamped, I'm going to flip the card base over again, and this time stamp the image a second time onto the front of my card base. This time I'm using a rectangle die, and I'll just cut this from my card front, once again holding it in place with purple tape and running it through my die cut machine. Now, since this is an open image instead of a silhouette, I can color this in. So I'm using that piece that I cut out of my card front, and I'm just going to color that in using colored pencils. And I'm just using a variety of gray Prismacolor pencils, and I'm just going to build that color up a bit and add some shading to my egret image. Now, after I'm happy with the coloring on the egret, I'll use some scissors and trim that image out. Then I'm going to adhere the cutout image to the inside of my card base. And the Gina K Connect glue is just perfect for this sort of fussy cut image because you can use that really well on those tiny little bits and get those just how you want them. And just for kicks, I'm going to add one more stamped image, this small silhouette flying egret in the background. Now on the front of my card base, I decided I needed a little more, so I'm stamping just a portion of that same egret image just to get a bit of the cattails on the card front. Now on the inside of this card, I also used those same Copic markers and white gel pen to add some water ripples again. And that completes today's video. I hope you enjoyed these projects. Thanks for watching.